Greetings all. I would like to give you a simple analogy which may serve you and how to think in a different way. The prospect of death, the layers of existence of who you are, and your experiences. So let me tell you about the prospect of death, when death happens. See, you have layers of your existence. One of the layers is physical. Your body is an object that you use. You are the subject of that object. You, in itself, as you've heard before, are different layers of consciousness. But the true consciousness, the true one, is the spirit of you. It's this energy inside of you which doesn't die, doesn't tire, doesn't quit. So what I want to tell you about what happens when death happens is that when death happens, the physicalness layer dies. All the other layers about you exist. But for you to exist on this plane, you have to have the consciousness of you to exist here and now. So, when you die, the physical body stays behind. Then, as you get sucked up by the moon and Mercury, the angels, and the moon, then the sun, or the other planets before the sun, you will then see that you become a funnel. And this funnel is containing as much spirit as it can before it gets to the final gate of the sun, where that black hole is in the middle of the sun, where you get sucked up into that black hole where all the light and beams are. But for this journey, you need to go from physical, water, and then spirit. To do this, when you die, it's like a funnel. It's like having pate and water, or mud and water in a funnel, and you squeeze as much water as you possibly can out of the mud. And the mud represents your physicalness, your body. Okay? So you have to turn the funnel the other way around. So the funnel is aiming upwards. Right? You're getting sucked up like a vacuum. And as the vacuum sucks you up, the water and the mud, here's the top part of the funnel, and only water can get through. Because only water can exist there, and that's your emotions. And the only thing can form here is earth. So it gets dropped back down again. Okay? And then when you get sucked up, the water then, as it gets closer to the gates, the sun will suck you up as spirit. And then what's ever remaining from the matter and the water and the spirit, you will come through the gate. Do you see? That's how you go home. Now, you got to remember, if you get through these gates with a little spirit, you will then be greeted by the light people to work on maximizing your spirit the next round. Because you cannot exist on the moon or the moon's energy as you get filtered through, because all of your emotions stay here. The anger, the evilness, moonstruck, the emotions, they're not balanced, they stay on Earth. And they stay there like avatars waiting for you to reappear in dust. So when you come back down, doing the same thing, but the other way round, the filter, so you go through the sun, and then as you transfer, you go into liquid, and as you go into liquid, then you come into matter. Now look, when the mother creates you inside of her womb, it's created in water, but if you notice that the body of the person comes out of the umbilical cord, and then the physicalness is made on the outside, and then you're created in the inside. It's like, do you know when you have them water balloons and you put water in it? So if I put spirit into the water and then water into that, and then I start to fill it up, then the water gets bigger and bigger. That's the same thing. You're always connected. You're always connected. And then whatever you've done in your past life here, so like you might have brittle bones when you left. You might have suffered with diseases. Because of the consciousness, you need to have the consciousness of you to be able to develop you for your bones and everything to remember you in this dimension. In this physical realm. You will pick up where you left off. Last in, first served. First in, last served. Because when you get to that stage of becoming steam again, you need to have enough to be able to walk into the gates. Not be disabled when you get through the gates. And then have people help you and go, right, we need more spirit from you. You need to go back down and we'll learn together on the processes of where you fell before. But it's a cleansing act. We're cleansing the earth. We're experiencing all these different things. We're an antennae. We experience these with all of our different layers. The intellect, the ego, the physicalness, the object. You are the subject. And you get all this information, and you could be a horrible person in the world. You could be absolutely horrible. Killing, murdering, raping, torturing. You leave that here. And then when you get to Heaven's Gate, you'll be taught to go again because you've only got a little bit of spirit out of it. Because you will see how it felt to be in that situation. And then when you come back down here, you pick up the bones that you had before. I mean, the only thing that helps you is the other ancestors around you or the other soul's family, which are helping you grow. Because obviously, to be like that and be so horrible in that way, you would have had to pick that path. You'd have had to pick that experience. Because maybe you were strong enough to bring the worst out of everyone, to wake everyone up, to bring them into that path of alignment. That's what the soul family is all about. You work together. But if you can't let go and you want to maintain hold of physicalness, then you have a problem. Because when you come back down, or when you get up there, when you come back down, you get your bones back. Same bones, same blood, same emotions that you had before. You didn't deal with it. Now, like I've said to you before, that the mother is your emotions. So the mother is like a womb. A dark room that you're in. But you're in it. And you probably came from a vortex, got pushed straight into that womb, and now you have to experience a dark place, and the Father gives you a candle. But what he wants you to do is light the room. He wants you to light the room with information. There's nothing to fear. We've experienced every edge and every corner of the galaxy. There's nothing to fear. The separation and the isolation, the ego, they're just layers which exist here when you die. So you pick them up when you come back down. No difference than walking into a house, leaving your slippers there, pop them on, and you walk into your house. So only your feet, which are in the slippers, right? Only your feet, which are warm. And then when you leave, you take slippers off, and then you leave the house. No dirt can come in if you wear slippers. You take your boots off before you get in, then you put your slippers on. No dirt in the house. You're the temple. And you have to experience things to light up things. And if things keep coming back at you, you have to relook at them. But the main thing, the main objective is that you are having an experience of that consciousness which exists here to design you, to create you. And when I say you or I, what I mean is the one behind. You say hello to your hands. Your hands do not say hello to you. You have mastered all the skills. The vibration that you sometimes have of that great feeling of goodness, goodwill, that's reminding you of home. You can create your heaven at home. You just have to simply look at creating heaven on earth. And you have a house right now. And you generally have a male and a female in the house. An atom and an element. And even if it's the female energy and the male energy, atom, element. Then you introduce a child into your path of enlightenment. And the child is innocent. The child is love. That's the father. The father and the mother have created love. Because you made the child through love. What would it be like if people can't have children? What would that be like? We're going through it. Going through the process. What is it like with people feeding us and we're not growing our own vegetables and fruit? We're going through the process. Going through the process of physicalness. We asked for this. And don't say you haven't. The only time it can change is when we share our light on it and we realise actually we want a new beginning, but it starts from your house. Your house. Many years ago, many years ago, we were just consciousness, without physicalness, without the layers which create us. We were just consciousness, we were just spirit. So the world was just spirit, it was just a form. We existed at the same time there. We could think things grow. We could think things, and they would happen. How much thinking did you think we did in them years to create consciousness? We would have thought so many things. Now, physically, we see all the things that we thought of, and other things which are going to come about of stuff we thought of before when we were consciousness, pure consciousness. And then we decided we wanted to have an experience. We wanted to actually physically feel. This could be the full. We wanted to feel, touch, taste, see, smell. So we decided to have a water body. And whether that was in the ocean, whether it was not, it was about water. And then after water, it was all about creating matter and soul. We wanted a soul. But consciously we created it already. So that when we were ready to tap into it and jump from spirit to matter, we were able to do it. That's what all these monuments are. When you look at these big monuments like in Rome, and they've got all them people which are now rocks now, maybe they ended up becoming concrete to create the bridge to keep us in this position to become physical. Maybe they were human beings. Maybe they were beings, not human, but they were beings. And they create themselves into concrete, which meant that the consciousness can stay here of physicalness. Smash all them up, smash all the monuments up, everything. We don't exist. We won't exist. Because that's what roots us to have a soul and a matter body. That is what gives us our experience. But remember, we've asked for this. We decided at some stage we were going to divide and conquer and go and explore the whole universe. And certain parts of consciousness, so like for example, certain beings who decide to come to here from different parts of the galaxy would have to wait until, let's say, ice cream was developed. And when ice cream's developed, it means I can come and have an experience here because I like ice cream. So certain times, things are created at certain points where we are able to come down on this plane. So it's like being here consciously first, many years ago, consciously being here first, and I design me consciously. But I know that the human race, or the race of this planet, has to get to a certain stand before I can actually exist here. My consciousness. Okay, so then I jump into my body. And then I spend a few lifetimes going around Circle Island. And I remember my home. And then I start to forget. And then I become the villain. Then I become the hero. And then I become the prey. And then every time I go back, I come back with less spirit. Hey, what are you doing here? You know, before you could fill the room up with your spirit. Now you can't, brother. You're going to have to go back. Let me teach you. Let me remind you. And then what I do, I remind myself who I am, and then I come back down. And as I come back down, I jump in my avatar. My new avatar. It's got the same coding in it. And then I have to work through my coding again. See, some people loop. And what that means is, they come back and they get lost in the game again. So when they come back again, they go back to the same body as they were before. So their body hasn't upgraded. And that could be your children could be looping and doing the same loop that you have done. That could be you coming back and doing the same looping. But look, depression, all these different things, happiness, it all exists here. It exists here. It depends on what layer you look at it. If you decide to use the correct layer and know that you are an observer of the layers. Anyone would tell you if they pull a body apart, they're never going to find depression, they're never going to find happiness, they're never going to find any of that. They're just going to see blood, water, bones, and parts, muscles. There's no you in there. You're not in there. Because it's the object that you're using to create heaven on earth. So just to sum it up, when you die, it's a filtering system back to source. And then when you come back, if you decide to come back, if you've done all the right things and correctly, and you realize it's a halal moment of enlightenment, you then realize that you are the light, you are it, you're the whole thing. And you work on that. And remember that. So when you get to the gates, more spirit can go through. More spirit can go through. Because what you've done, you've conquered generations of yourself come in here and forever being lost. And and then started to become found. Started to become found. You think how much steam that's worth? It's worth loads of steam. Look, I love you. Love, live and empathize. Okay? Be the observer and light up any darkness inside your house. And your house is your temple. Light it up with the Father and shows you there's nothing to fear. And mastery, the true mastery is that you're always a student. You're always learning.